Hey, hey, hey. Good morning. Good after. Well, no, it's still morning. It's still morning. I've been wanting to say good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. But it's still morning. So welcome to It's Time with Keandra Ward. I am super excited. It's been a minute since we've been on. I had to take a couple weeks hiatus to refresh and regroup. Hey, Ida, if you are here, let me know that you're here. Please share and like. Now, let me tell you the flow of It's Time. We are an open conversation show. Comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you're thinking. Let's drive the conversation, because I definitely believe that it's important that we communicate together, learning together. So let me just give you guys a backdrop. We start off the show. My name is Keandra. I am the owner of the Bomb Mentoring Group, which is bold operations for managing business, where we help purpose-driven entrepreneurs navigate through the crossroads of entrepreneurship. This particular month, the first of every month, I go through a light, no makeup kind of month time. It's my refreshing time. My time of, I put on a little lip gloss and keep it going. So you might see the picture over here and she's all glammed up and you're looking over here. This is me, guys, and I'm okay with it. I absolutely love it. So just to give a little backdrop about myself, I was in the beauty industry for over 20 years. I stopped doing that to become my mother's full-time caregiver. I worked for a hair care company, and in the interim, I taught businesses and cosmetologists how to run their business. So we flipped that and made it open to everyone, and hence the Bomb Mentoring Group. So if you're here, let me know you're here. Hey, welcome everyone. So the last couple weeks, what have I been doing? I had a couple people inbox me and say, what's up with It's Time? What are you guys doing? We were on a break. We are, and actually the staff that helps me with this is still on break until next week. So I'm trying to manage this thing on my own, but I'm so thankful to have them. But I took some time for self-care, and I wanted to talk about that briefly before we bring on our guest, the importance of taking care of you as a mother, as a business owner, as a friend, as a daughter, as a granddaughter, whatever, or husband, father, son, whatever your role is. You have to understand, or I had to understand, that if I do not take time for myself, if I don't take those times to refresh and regroup, I can't be who I need to be for them. You know, I'd be tired, irritable, because I don't know about you guys, but I get irritable when I'm hungry and when I'm sleepy. So I realized that it was just becoming taxing. So I had to take that time for self-care. I went to the beach. I got a massage. I slept in just about every day. I did all the things that I felt that I needed to do. Epsom salt with lavender baths, you know, the whole nine. Like, that's me. And I want you to think about how you can take time every day for self-care. Even if it's 15 to 30 minutes. I remember a season where my daughter was little, I would lock myself in the bathroom just for a minute, you know, or when she was taking her nap, that would be my self-care time. You know, you have to look at what you have in your life and just make arrangements around it, because your life and your family, that doesn't change, but you have to make the difference in your life. So guys, I hope that helped. And I want you to comment and let me know what you do for self-care. And if you don't do anything for self-care, let's talk about that. Why don't you? And how can you begin to make those changes? And then I want to introduce you guys to an amazing woman that I've known for a while. And we've actually just been able to watch each other's process and each other grow. So it's been truly amazing. I want you to hear her story. So let me tell you a little bit about our guest today. You guys ready? I'm going to read the bio, and then I'm going to tell you what I say. So Tonja Johnson is a creative, innovative, and determined woman. She has persevered through many obstacles in life which has fueled her passions. Tonja is married as a married mother of one adult daughter and currently resides in Lakeland, Florida. Professionally, she spends her days as a dental program manager of the Florida Department of Health in Polk County and has a long background in public health service. She's an active member of Plant City Christian Center, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Polk County Chapter, and she serves as board member for Building Strong Families. That's amazing. Tonja is the founder of Beautifully Unblemished, a vitiligo support group that was birthed in 2017 after having a challenging time finding a local support group in the state of Florida. Tonja was diagnosed with vitiligo in 2014 and today is 70% covered with white patches, but has learned to embrace the skin that she is in. Her passion and drive is inspired by her own experiences dealing with vitiligo and learning to embrace the physical changes she faces daily. Tonja is currently working diligently to spread awareness to the Central Florida area concerning vitiligo and educate communities about vitiligo. I am extremely excited to welcome her. So let me tell you my story. So I've known her through her niece. We work for the same company. We did each other hair. That's my girl. And I've watched her process and I've watched her grow. And for so long, I had no idea that she was dealing with this. And then one day she posted something and I was like, wait, that look like, hold on. And I said, wow, you never know what people are going through, but I've loved watching her story. I've loved watching her grow, and I've loved watching her share herself to the world and helping others that are going through the same thing that she's going through. So let's welcome Miss Tonja Johnson, guys. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yes. Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
So glad to have you on. It's been a crazy morning, huh?
Yes, it has. Very crazy.
So I read your bio, but I want you to tell our audience who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
So I'm Tonja Johnson, and I am the founder of Beautifully Unblemished. Beautifully Unblemished is a support group for vitiligans, and it's for those individuals and their families who are affected by vitiligo. Over 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with vitiligo, and it was very detrimental to me, emotionally, physically, mentally, the whole 9 yards. And there was no support group in sight. I searched the internet just looking for a support group because I needed help. My dermatologist couldn't give me the help that I needed. Because all they could do was diagnose me. They couldn't give me that mental guidance and that emotional guidance that I needed to learn how to cope and deal with the vitiligo. Yeah. So I said, you know what? After a couple of years of covering, I covered for, I think it was 3 years I covered. Once it was in my face, I started covering. And I got tired of covering because I'm like, you know what? I am who I am. God has made me like this, and I'm just going to have to learn to embrace it. Vitiligo is not going to dictate my life. I'm going to dictate it. And so I decided to just go ahead and start my own support group because I was seeing individuals that were out in the community just not knowing what vitiligo was. So I was getting all the stares, getting all the looks, and, feeling very uncomfortable with the skin. Yeah. And so I just started trying to embrace the skin and just let people know, okay, it's just vitiligo. It's not contagious. You won't get it if you touch me. So that's pretty much how Beautifully Unblemished got started.
So what is Beautifully Unblemished? Let's talk about that.
So Beautifully Unblemished is a support group that we are helping and empowering and inspiring those individuals with vitiligo and their families, so that they will understand how to cope, how to deal with the changes of their skin, and how their families can deal with it, and in response also to the community and how they deal with it. So that's what Beautifully Unblemished is all about. We are affiliate with Vit Friends, which is out of Boston, Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. And just to tell you a little bit about vitiligo, vitiligo is a disorder. It's an immune disorder, which results in white patches appearing over different parts of your body. This happens when the cells that make pigment, the color in our skin, are destroyed. Vitiligo is not contagious. Although having vitiligo, I do have to wear sunscreen because I'm no longer protected from the sun because I have no pigment. So, and there is no cure currently for vitiligo, which is desperately needed. So that's why I pretty much started the Beautifully Unblemished, so that our people in the communities in which we live could understand what exactly vitiligo is and how it affects the individuals that have it.
Absolutely. So I have a couple questions. How did the process start for you? Like where was the beginning? How did you know that this is what it was, or even know to say, hey, let me go get this checked out?
Okay, so back in 2011, I noticed a white spot appearing on my leg. And, I was asking around and everybody was saying, oh, that's just an age spot. Don't worry, you'll get them as you get older. And I thought, okay, all right, I can deal with that. And then a year later, they started appearing on my arms and they were getting larger. And I thought, okay, this is not just an age spot. So I need to go and get this checked out. And so at that time, I went to my dermatologist, who at the time could not diagnose me because she wasn't sure if it was vitiligo or if it was like they say, the age spots that you get on your body at some point in time. So then she sent me to the USF medical doctors, the dermatologist there, who specializes in vitiligo. And when they put me under the ultra light, then they could see the vitiligo much clearer, and they could see that it was pretty much taking over my body.
Wow.
So that's how I was diagnosed. And they gave me options. They said, well, you can do light therapy, because right now light therapy is it's the end thing. People are doing light therapy, but everyone know insurance don't cover it because it's the society considers it a cosmetic disorder, and it's not cosmetic. It is it is a serious immune system disorder that we face. And if I had control to bring color back, of course I would bring my color back any day. But because I don't have that type of control, I'm steady losing color. And mine is very aggressive. So I have the kind that is very aggressive. Found out it's in my family history. Great grandmother on my father's side, family on my mother's side, they're albinos, and they all have vitiligo. Most of them. There's probably like 5 or 6 of them that either have albinoism or they have vitiligo.
And is that something you just found out, or is that, as far as like, how long was it before you realized, hey, this is something that runs in our family line, in our DNA?
Well, I found out pretty early about my great grandmother because hers was so evident. But she was much older when I was a kid, so I really didn't get a chance to know her. I just knew her skin looked different from ours. As far as my mother's side of the family, I just found out about them in December. I had been told that there were family members that had it, but I had never met them.
Wow. So what would you say to someone who has just found out that they have this disorder? And, what are some of the things that you would say to them?
So some of the things that I would say, first of all, is get all the information you can. Establish a relationship with your dermatologist, because that's key. Because the dermatologists, they know the condition. They can explain the science of the condition, because that's very important. Because a lot of us that have vitiligo, if we don't have a relationship with our dermatologist, or if we don't get on the internet and do research and try to find
Mm. Yeah. And that was one of the next questions I wanted to ask is, how do How do families support, or what can families do, or what's that process of even sharing with your family? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Can you still clearly hear me? Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. And we have a question. Miss Ida says, are there other symptoms other than loss of skin pigmentation? Wow, no other symptoms. Mm-hmm. Not sure if you can still hear us. All right, so we'll take a quick second break. Wow, this has truly been amazing. We're learning so much, some things that I never knew before. In regards to, of course, we know we've seen people with vitiligo, but I've never known the history or even the story behind the process of having vitiligo and what that looks like. And also thinking about not just the person that has it, but the life of their family and how their family has to adjust to those changes as well. It's so amazing. And thank you guys for your questions. I've watched this process and I've watched her really stand up in who she is and what she believes and embracing her skin. Now, it's amazing to me because I had yes, I know she went off, Miss Ida. We're coming back. We're coming back. I had a problem with not having makeup on at a time. And I didn't have any issues other than I just was vain. And so watching her in her process of saying, I am beautiful just the way I am, it really touched my heart. And I said, you know what? You're beautiful just the way that you are. And you're the way that you are, no matter how you are, to impact lives right where you are and in the season that you're in. I know you have to go through a process. And as she said, I had times where I was crying. I couldn't do it. I was on the floor and I just was not dealing with it. And that's being honest with your process. If you think about it, anytime any of us go through anything, there is a process and we have to be honest with our process. We're going to see if we can get her back on, because I absolutely love her story. And I want you guys to hear more about how you can connect with her. And if she can't pop back on, I will definitely make sure that we have her back on. But of course, you'll always get to see the replay, and I'll always have her contact information here, as well as where the replay is. So guys, do you guys have any questions? How has this impacted your life? Just this information of knowing. One of the things that I didn't know, which was a great question, Miss Ida, was, are there any other symptoms other than the loss of pigment? And there aren't. No headaches, no backaches, no skin, soreness. She said there's nothing other than the loss of pigment. So that's really an amazing thing. And the simple fact, I think what got me was that this is looked at as a cosmetic disorder. And so from that, insurance don't cover any treatments for them, and there isn't a cure for it as of yet. Those are some things to really think about. I think that a lot of times when it's things that, of course, we don't deal with, or it's not prevalent in our lives, we don't think about some of those things. Like, so what would we need to do as a society to change that medically for those with vitiligo, so they can get treatment for the disorder that they have, because it is registered as a disorder, I believe. So I have to confirm that with her. So, those are the things we need to look at as a community, as a group. What does that look like for that community? So we haven't been able to get her back on as of yet, but I promise you, this has truly been amazing. I learned so much today in just a short time that I had absolutely no idea about. I didn't know that this one was a disorder. I did not know that it's looked at as a cosmetic disorder, and that there isn't a cure. I think we're able to get her back on. Let's see if we can get her here.
Hello.
Hey, Tonja. All right, we got you back.
Yes.
All right, so we were at the place of one of the things that struck me, and I was telling them as we were waiting for you to jump back on with us, is that I didn't realize that this is a cosmetic, it's looked at as a cosmetic disorder.
Yes.
So are there any laws? Is there any fight? Is there any group that's fighting to change that, so that people that have it, that want to get services as far as help, they can, and not be financially broken trying to do it?
Yes. Right now, the World Vitiligo Group and our support groups, we are petitioning legislative right now. There's a senator in Atlanta, Georgia, that is working with the legislative to get this looked at as a disease and not as something that's cosmetic.
Wow.
And there is a petition. I have not received the petitions yet. I'm waiting to receive them so that I can get people in the community to sign the petitions. So as soon as I have them, I will be getting that information out.
Please let us know so that we can post it for our community and our support, so that we can support on those efforts. So what does that look like if a person cannot afford to get services? What does that look like for them financially?
Well, financially, it's very expensive. Now, the insurance that I have, which is AvMed, it only covers, you have to do like your specialty. You know how you have like your specialty payments or something like that, it's called. Yeah. And so when I go to the dermatologist, say if I was to select to get the treatment, the light therapy, for me to go, it's going to cost me $40 a pop. And they want me to come at least 3 to 4 times a week. So we're looking at a maximum of $160 a week for me to get light therapy. That's probably only 30 minutes a day. So for 4 days, 30 minutes at $160 a week.
Wow. And what is light therapy? Like, what is that?
So light therapy is a machine that you, so with my patches, I don't know if people can see, but I'm pretty covered. So it's not like I've got a huge white patch on my face or I've got a huge white patch on my arm. Mine is segmental. So I'm pretty much, it's almost like confetti is what they describe it as, being confetti. So mine would be a little bit harder to treat than someone else that just has maybe a couple of white patches and they just sew in their face. So they put a light, it's a laser light, and they put it to bring the pigment back into the skin. So you can, and then they have these machines that in some of the, your dermatologist office, especially those that are doing the research, they have a machine that you can almost like a tanning bed. And then you can receive the light therapy that way, depending on how far along your vitiligo is and how I guess defined it is. Like with mine, like I say, mine is confetti. It looks like confetti. So you may see, dark spots, but then they're outnumbered by all the white spots. So it would be a little bit harder to treat.
Wow. So how do we get a hold of you? So what are you doing locally? What are some of the things you've done thus far and that you plan to do locally here in the Tampa Bay area?
Okay, so we just launched Beautifully Unblemished back in March. We launched on March 31st, had our first group meeting in Plant City. Our next support group meeting will be August 25th at the Robert Sanders Library in Tampa off of Nebraska.
August 25th at the Robert Sanders. Okay.
And currently we have about 8 to 10 members that have vitiligo, and they range from Tampa, Lakeland, Orlando, Naples, Davenport, and then we have a couple of people in the Miami area that are interested in joining our group.
And how can people support? So I personally am not affected by vitiligo, but I may want to support you guys. How can we do that?
Yes, I am working. We are a nonprofit organization with a 501(c)(3). I fall under the Vit Friends state affiliate, and we're now working on our donation letters and the link on my Facebook page for donations. And the donations will go to help research and to help fund, our events that we're having in the community.
Okay. And what's your Facebook page?
So the Facebook page is Beautifully Unblemished. Instagram is @BeautifullyUnblemished.
I'm going to put it up here for everyone here.
And you can also find me on www.vitfriends.org.
Vitfriends, V-I. What's Vitfriends mean? What's
vitiligo. It's just a short term for vitiligo.
I was like, what is Vit? I was like, does that stand for something? V-I-T. Okay. That's awesome. And so I know that you just went out of town. There was a big day. I think it was last week.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
So we attended, I'm going to see if I can put this up so people can see. But I attended the World Vitiligo Conference Day, which was held in Worcester, Massachusetts, which is right outside of Boston. And it was over 315 individuals there with vitiligo.
Wow.
And we were able to get presentations from some of the top dermatologists in the country and in the world. We had several countries that were represented. So there was Morocco, Nigeria, St. Martin. Oh my God, it was so many. It was so overwhelming to walk into a room with, 300 people looking just like you. It was just very overwhelming and just made me feel so welcome and so warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow. we were able, so we had Philippines was represented, Australia, Brazil, Canada, and France. And then we did a live show on Saturday morning where it was Morocco, China, India, and South Africa.
Wow. Wow. And what did you come back with from that experience? What did you take away from that?
Wow. From that experience, I took away that there are dermatologists that are, top notch in the country that are passionate about people with vitiligo, patients with vitiligo. They're passionate about finding a cure. And that probably was my biggest takeaway, is to see so many doctors involved in patient care for those of us that have vitiligo, and how passionate, and how there's some of them are taking their own money to fund research. That just meant the world to me. And that they're fighting on our behalf, with the legislative.
Wow. And did you go by yourself?
No, I took my daughter with me, so she was my support team. And on Friday night of the conference, I was able to introduce Beautifully Unblemished to the world. And so I was really excited about that. So, and even while I was there, I met 4 families that are from Florida. So that was awesome.
Awesome. And how has this process been in relationships, like relationships with your daughter, and relationships with your husband and your family? How has that process been in maintaining those relationships?
Well, with my family, it's pretty easy, because we're a close-knit family, so it's pretty easy to maintain the relationship, because they now understand that, well, if she's comfortable with her skin, we're comfortable with it too. And so they are just there for support. But I did tell my husband a few weeks ago, I asked him a question. I said, now, had you met me 7 or 8 years ago without the vitiligo, would you have, asked me out on a date? And he said, oh, of course I would have asked you out on a date. I said, are you sure? You serious? But, God has a way of doing things for us. So, my family is very, very supportive. My work family, they're very supportive. In the professional setting, so uncovering was probably one of the most difficult things for me, because I work in the public eye.
Absolutely.
And so just being able to uncover and be accepted by, people that you work with, your family, even my friends, everyone has just been so accepting of my disorder, and just really encouraging me to say, you are beautiful. It doesn't matter what your skin looks like, you're yet beautiful. And to be able to feel that. It's one thing for someone to tell you that, but it's another thing for you to be able to feel it.
Absolutely. 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 I just want to tell you, from me, it has been such an honor. I don't say much, and I'm very quiet. And we talked about that, how I watch everything. I don't say much, but I absolutely have been. It's been such an honor, and even encouraging for me to see your process, to see you stand boldly into who you are, and know that, listen, I am no different. The only thing that's different is this, but it doesn't change who Tonja is. I'm still, you know what I'm saying? And that has been amazing to see you. You also own another business, so let's talk about that a little bit.
Yes, I own Signature Events. We are an event planning company. Haven't really done a whole lot with it because I've been so involved in the vitiligo. I kind of put it to the back burner, but we're still in business. But I thank God for that business, because that business has also brought me friendship, it's brought me connections. So, and just, being able to work with a variety of people. So it's a wonderful experience.
Absolutely. Hey, Natalie. So Natalie says, wonderful show. Sharika says, you are beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story. Miss Ida asks, is light therapy successful? That's a good question.
Yes, it has been successful in some individuals, and they've also learned that, so after, 3 or 4 years, the vitiligo comes back. So for some, it has remained, it just depends on how your body reacts to the therapy. And there's also over in, and I hope I'm not chopping up this name, it's a country over near Jordan, Costacan or something like that. I can't really pronounce it. But they do the Dead Sea treatment, where they put their patients in the water from the Dead Sea.
What you say?
Yes, and it's a 6-week therapy. So I told my husband, I said, okay, we got to get our money together so I can go to the Dead Sea. Yeah, so that process, they've noticed, has lasted longer. I think the studies that they showed us last weekend was 8 years. person kept their color for 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and they do the Dead Sea treatment. So they're taking the water from the Dead Sea, and they're so the patients soak in this water for a period of time.
Wow. Now, how often could you do that? Okay, so 8 years, can you go back? Do you know, or after
That
eight
I
years,
don't
like
know. That I don't know because the presenters, they only had like 15 minutes to share their presentation. So um, I'm not real sure. I'm sure you could go back. If the pigment comes back, then you could go back and you could try it again. But my
yeah,
my only thing with the light therapy and with the Dead Sea treatment is, so you get used to being, with the white patches, and then your color comes back, and you get used to the color coming back, and then it disappears again.
again,
Emotionally and mentally, I'm not real sure how a person could deal with that, because I'm like, okay, I had the opportunity to go all white. My doctor gave me the opportunity that there was some medication that he could give me, and I could speed up the process and make me all white. And I was like, no, not so fast. We're gonna just let God do what He do, and let's take the process naturally. And so that's
yeah.
what I chose to do. I chose to take the process naturally, and just whatever happens, it happens.
Wow. So your sister's here. She said, "Hi, sister."
Hi, sissy.
It's been amazing to watch you guys. So, I mean, I never even thought about that. Like, you may want the treatment. The treatment is temporary because you did say in the beginning that there is no cure. So, any treatment that someone would have would be temporary,
Correct.
right? And then that mental process of going through having your pigment and then losing it again, going through that mental process, that could be taxing on someone. I mean, I could see how that process could be devastating to continue to go through.
Exactly. Now, with young children, it's probably an easier process because they go through so much with this disease. They get bullied, it's mentally affecting them with their social skills. Even adults, we deal with social skills. Some
Yeah.
of us, we just don't want to talk about it. We don't want to be in support groups. We just want to go on with our daily life, living it as we have. But then there are some that really need, they really need the support. So I guess it would depend on the individual, and two, how covered are they? How covered are they with the white spots?
Okay. Yeah. Now, how do you deal with families? You said that your organization deals with families and the support of the family. What do you guys do in support of families?
So with the families, we offer them support as well, because it it can affect them, because when you see your spouse dealing with the issues of having vitiligo, the treatment that we receive is unbelievable, because some people are not nice. Um, Even adults, they're not nice. We get bullied as adults, just as the kids get bullied. I get bullied. I've been in the store and cashier, instead of handing me my change, drops it in my hand. So we deal with that. And so then your spouses and your family see the things that you're going through. And so in order for them to, be that support for you, they need support as well. So they need to understand the process. They need to be in these support groups so that they understand what other individuals are going through, because your spouse or your significant other may not be going through it at that moment, but maybe further down the road, they may start experiencing some of those same things. So we want to make sure that we include the families so that they understand, especially those that have smaller children that are that have vitiligo. We want to educate them on how to educate the schools. So when their
Yeah.
kid goes into school, they know, okay, I need to meet with the teachers. I need to meet with the principal. I need to let them know my child has vitiligo. She's not contagious. He or she is not contagious. So we're also wanting to educate the schools in which those children attend.
Attend. And how do you help with an adult who has been bullied, like that? You think of that as, when we think of bullying, we think of high school or elementary school. We don't think of an adult being bullied.
So with that, because I've experienced it myself, a lot of times You can either choose to ignore it or you can choose to explain it. But then we don't, as people with vitiligo, we don't want to be the spokesperson for vitiligo. We want to educate, but every time we're in the grocery store, every time we're, at a theme park, we don't want to have to explain, oh, it's just vitiligo. So a lot of times we choose to ignore it. And so now that I've started the support group, I really don't want to ignore it. I want to educate. So when I'm in the grocery store and there's someone that's just staring at me, and if I can get good eye contact with them, I'll just give them a smile. Or a lot of times I wear these shirts. I wear different shirts. So the shirt I'm wearing today says 2 shades of beautiful. And so I also have one that says, it's just vitiligo. It's not contagious. Keep calm. It's not, so people can understand, okay, because I get the stares, oh my God, you have no idea the stares that I get. And kids are they're very real when they talk to you and when they ask you questions and when they try to describe what they see. So you have to be ready to answer them because they're going to ask you questions. They're going to want to touch. I've had kids that just want to touch my skin. Wow. I guess to know that I'm okay. You let them touch it and then they like, oh, okay. And they're gone on about their business. They're fine with
it. Because you've taken the moment and the time to educate them, but you had to get to a place mentally where you were okay with it to be able to do that though.
Oh yes. And it takes time. And everybody, it's not a race, it's not a marathon, it's just, it takes time. You got to be patient with yourself. Don't beat yourself up because we do. Yeah. We beat ourselves up because we have the disease. And then we're steady questioning God as to why me. And I've turned that into why not me? And I say all the time, vitiligo had no idea when it attacked my body what it was doing because it has really, really strengthened me as a person because growing up I had low self-esteem. So it has really strengthened me as a person and as an individual that it doesn't matter, what I look like. It doesn't matter if I'm fat, if I'm skinny, if I'm light, if I'm dark. It doesn't matter. I'm beautiful because of what's on the inside of me.
Wow, that is amazing. That's a whole nother, listen, I could go another 30 minutes on that. So,
okay.
Oh my gosh. So you said growing up, you had insecurities and vitiligo, this process has made you a stronger person. Wow. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Oh, I got a whole bunch of questions. But I mean, that's amazing. And that's amazing to see how, and I love that. You said vitiligo had no idea what it was doing when it came to attack me. Wow. That is so amazing how, and what I think about is using the situation for the good. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, woe is me, look at what happened. And I mean, you go through that process, but then you came to a realization, like, how can I use this to better my life, my family's life, and help other people in the process?
Exactly.
Yes. Miss Ida says you are helping so many people. So definitely keep it up.
Thank you.
Are there any last comments as we wrap up that you would want to tell or share with our community about you, what you're doing, just anything?
Well, yes, I would. If you see someone out in the community, of course, a lot of times they don't, a lot of Vitilogans don't want to be approached. But if you see someone out in the community, please feel, share my story, share my information, because I want to reach those individuals in our community so that, I can inspire them and just be, just be there for them, just be that support mechanism for them. And also, as we're going out, we just went out of Vitiligo Awareness Month, there's so much we can do as a community. So if there's like any health fairs or churches, any type of organizations that would like to get more information about vitiligo, just please reach out to me. I would love to share our group, and I would love to share our story. We would love to share our stories because there's quite a few of us. We've got some men that have vitiligo that's in our group, and we'd love to share our story.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, guys, we're going to wrap up today. I will, of course, you'll have the replay. We'll post information about how you can connect with Beautifully Unblemished, as well as Miss Tonja Johnson. And as she said, let's share, let's help. When all of the information comes out on how we can support, I will post that information as well. And I thank you so much for sharing your story today here on It's Time with Keandra Ward.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Well, I'm